Week 3, our goal is to go 1-0 every week, and that's the goal this week. Focused on obviously West Virginia and who they are and what they do. And I think our kids have been locked in all week. I think they're ready to go, and should be a fun rivalry game.
Pat, in the last 2 times that you played this team, they have been able to run the ball on you guys. Cincinnati's able to run the ball a bit. What do you guys have to do this week to change that trend?
We got to stop the run. They did run the ball, a little bit against us last year. I don't know what the yardage was, but I know they had 212 total yards. So anytime you're under, 212 yards, that's pretty good. To stop the run, you got to score points too. I think scoring points. I think last week, we ran into the same thing in the first half. Is when, you're down, they can run the ball more. It's just you got to, it makes it easy for them because they're up by whatever 14, 21 points, and and we are allowing them by the scoreboard to be able to call those plays because. If you're down by 14 on the other end, you have to think otherwise. So we got to help ourselves that way. I think we gave up 3 big runs last week. And again, as you watch the tape, it's execution. It's not like, oh man, they got us. That's a great call. We had a crappy call in there. So we just got to execute better and make plays.
What parts of your defense give you the confidence that this defense can do that better in this game?
All parts. If I only felt good about one part, Chris, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I'd have no confidence in what we're doing. So I think we're capable everywhere. We got to go out and do it. You got to do it, and you got to do it consistently. You can't do it one play, look real good, and then, oh, sorry, we gave up that play. So, we'll probably keep guys out on the field. Wasn't happy last week when we made some rotations after the first series, putting some other guys in. It's like, no, this is, playing to win the game, and I want to keep the starters out there.
Kyle Lewis, didn't seem like he really came off the field at all.
He came off that second series. I wouldn't take number 9 off the field.
Was that the last time he came off?
Maybe, because I yelled. Might be.
What has he done to sort of get himself in a position where you just don't want to take him off the field?
He's a football player. He's tough. He's physical, and you can trust him that he's going to do everything exactly the way you want it. If he's going to make a mistake, he's going to make it, 110 miles per hour, and that's what the guy. He's reckless. And that's what you want out of a guy that's on the field. I don't want hesitators out there. And, he's a guy he's a starter for a reason.
What's the difference between a good reckless and a bad reckless?
Reckless is good. Unless you're rushing the punt, don't be reckless. Hit the punter.
We've talked a lot about blitzing, I feel like lately. Are you able to blitz as much against a guy like Green who runs as much as he does?
Depends on what kind of blitz you're doing. We're more of a zone blitz team, so I think it fits into our hands, maybe what we'd like to do. Obviously, we got to be calculated because they'll throw screens. We're ready for, them motion into trips and throwing screens and doing all kinds of stuff. So for me, I would think, we prepared a lot for the screens because we have blitzed less last week than the week before. I think we talked percentage. What was it, Jerry?
33.
Oh, man, you're wrong. It was 41 last week. Usually we're somewhere between 31 and 33. Last week, opening week, it was 41. Last week, it was maybe in the 34 range.
It seemed like it was more.
You got to pay attention.
It seemed like it was more
last week. I've had people tell me it looks like we're blitzing. Like when you read fast, it looks like blitzing. Okay, if you play fast as linebackers, it should look like 95% blitz. But true, you can tell by the coverage when the coverage changes and safeties come down and someone goes back. But to your point, when we blitz, it's zone pressure. So we have, we got 22 guys, we got 11 guys on the field, and we have 22 eyeballs, right? We want to have eyes on the ball. There's only one ball. So when you have pressure and you got eyes on the ball, it's safer. Now, if you're playing man coverage and you got eyes on receivers, that's when we worried about a quarterback running. And we've got a little bit of man pressure as well, like we always do, if we want to dial it up. And that's when you'd have to worry about that. And you got to be right there. And we've practiced, some of our man stuff versus option and all the different stuff that they could possibly do versus, if they see man, of checking to it.
Yeah, for those that haven't been a part of this rivalry, do you feel like they have an understanding of what Saturday's going to be?
I think so. I think Monday we talked about 76 guys in that room that were there last year. So that's 3/4 of our football team. So I think that matters. I'm sure they all talk to each other in the locker room while they're taking showers and getting ready to go to class. So I think they understand what it's all about, and I've tried to educate them a little bit about what it's going to be like, how loud it's going to be, all the conversations that will happen in the stands, and so I think they got a good feel of the flavor that we're going to get this week.
Weather was really nice all week, but you went inside to practice. Is that just being extra careful?
Extra careful, paranoid. You got people in the hills. I mean, they live in the hills, so we got binoculars. Yeah. Mountaineers, man, they're up there, right in the mountains, right there. So you got to, hey, take nothing for granted. We were inside. You're exactly right. So good observation. Were you up there on the hill trying to look too?
I was interviewing some of those guys.
You've had primetime kickoffs for the last two Virginia games. We kicked off in the afternoon this time. Would you rather have a nighttime kickoff, or does it not matter to you?
I'd like a noon kickoff would be outstanding. 3:30 is the next best. 7:30 is the least favorite, but I think our kids like it. But this game can be played at 10 a.m. in the morning. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when this game gets played. It's the brawl. It's the Backyard Brawl. It doesn't matter when it gets played. It's it doesn't matter.
Hey, you talked about wanting to keep your defensive starters on the field. Part of that is, you guys are trying to play so fast on offense, you struggle, and we have to run right back out there. You and Kate talk at all about varying tempo to try to at least, even if you're struggling a little bit, to get the defensive.
No, and I know you guys are think I micromanage offenses through my years here, and I don't. I want to go. I want to go as fast as we can go. I want to go what hurts them. Now, last week when Corleone came in the game, our plan was to go as fast as we possibly could to wear him out because he hadn't played that much. And again, near the end of the game, he's tapping out, right? I mean, he just fell down. So we want to go as fast. That's our plan. We're not going to change. I don't want to handcuff Coach Bell or any of our offense coaches or our offense. We want to do what's best for us. I'm not worried about the defense. They got to suck it up and go. But my plan is to have success on offense and not have to worry about it. We want to move the sticks. When you're going fast, you got to move the sticks. And we expect to move the sticks better than what we did first half.
Eli handled himself well in that high-pressure situation in the comeback last week, but what's been the conversation this week knowing that this is going to be even more intense, more high pressure?
Yeah, good question. I mean, his first game as a starter, then his second game is on the road, and his third game's, one of the biggest games of the year because it's the next game and it's the Backyard Brawl. So it's his first experience in a big-time, rivalry game. So that's it's like three, couldn't we just have just a normal home game? No, but it's going to be that, and he's got to, but again, playing the game again, once that first play gets snapped, it's just a normal game, I think. And, it's about our guys executing for 60 minutes, not for 30, not for 15, for 30 minutes in the first half and 30 in the second, a total of 60. That's our, but once that first kickoff, I think our guys are good to go.
For the guys who played in last year's game, is there an additional hunger, thirst because of what happened to sort of wash away that stink?
I don't speak for our players. You've talked to a couple of them this week, but I know I'm hungry. I know I don't forget, and I don't forget. Players I don't think forget either. So.
The school put out today that it's going to be a sold-out stadium. What do you expect of this environment on Saturday?
I expect it to be like it was a couple of years ago. I mean, I think our Panther pit will be outstanding, and I thank them. Prior to when they got the ball, I expect it to be like. I expect. I want our fans. I want our pit. Panther pit to at least cause 2 unforced errors on offense. For them. I want to be quiet when our offense goes out there so we can communicate and get stuff done. But I expect it to be, rowdy, and expect them to be in it for 60 minutes till the end. And I expect our football team to keep them there engaged for 60.
Sorry, I lost my question. My bad.
There's an unforced there, right? That's a Jerry.
The crowd got you. The crowd knows got you.
That's a Jerry thing to do, right?
No, not you. Sharp as a tack.
I got it. Sorry, I remember it now. My bad. When it comes to offense and starting, how important is starting fast as far as your preparation, the level of preparation you guys go into to make sure that what you're doing is what you guys can game.
Well, you have this room bugged in here. You have this room bugged. I had a leadership council meeting this morning, and I was asking, hey, what do we got to do? And they say start fast. I'm like, well, again, psychologically, when I tell our guys, hey, we got to start fast, and we go 3-0 the first series. What's our kids thinking? What do they think? What do you guys think?
Anxious.
Well, they're kind of like, oh my God, we failed. We went 3 and out. Like, oh, we lost. Like, to me, it's like we want to start fast. Everybody knows that, but like I don't need to focus on that. We need to go play and execute for 60. And to me, the fast start, it's how you finish. And again, it's how you play every play, and and put them behind you. But I never want to say, hey, we got to start fast, because as soon as you do that, it's like, oh, goal number 1, we didn't get that because we went 3 and out, or they drove down the field and kicked the field goal. Like, to me, it's about going out and playing like we know how to play, execute, the call on offense, defense, and special teams. And I'm not worried about the fast start. Of course, we want to start fast.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say hey, this is number 1 thing that we have to do. And
not that's the number 1, but is there an effort to like maybe get a script and it's like, hey, these are things that we know early on we should hit on these. Like,
we started fast last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we went right down the field. I mean, it was shoot Gavin on a restaurant on the edge. I hadn't seen. We could talk about a script that was made there. I mean, like everything was good until we had a receiver run the wrong route, and then start as fast. I mean, starting fast. I mean, we had a drive. Well, to your point, we drove down the field and ate up a little bit of the clock, but you got to finish the drives, so it doesn't matter.
On that interception, that was a wrong route. That was targeted there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't all Eli's. I mean, he's got to be smart, but it was a failure out there.
Had Neil said yesterday that this is a series he would like to see play every year. I know you're taking a.
You said Neil. I'm sorry.
Neil Brown said.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Sorry.
That was one of our players. I'm like,
his first egg is that. I mean, I know there's a little break, and then you guys pick it back after next year. Then you pick it back up, and who knows where we'll be at by then. Jerry might even be retired by that time. Is it something you'd like to see every year? Would you like to play some of this game? Do you prefer it in September, or a lot of some of these rivalry games are played, in November?
I believe that the game should be played all the time. I mean, I don't think there's any. This is why you coach football. This is why you play the game. But I believe the next time we play them, it's going to be later in the year. It's going to be Thanksgiving Day. How about that? Like, why not? Right? I think that's.
You mean next season?
No, we don't play. No.
You do next season.
No, I don't think so. I think it's got to be on the schedule. And we got when you schedule these things, you schedule way in advance. Years ago. So I think the next 4 games that we have with them, I think we had tried to get it. In November sometime. EJ might help me out there, but I don't have that schedule in front of me. But we'd like it to be back like it used to be back in the old days. I think a lot of times I remember as a little kid up in Youngstown watching it on Thanksgiving. Correct, EJ? I mean, that's kind of like it's a thing to me. That should be to me we need to get it back to where it used to be. But done 9 a.m., 8 a.m., September, October, November. Doesn't matter.
That being said, can this game? You look what happened 2 years ago with your team after you win the game in the opener. You end up on your way to have a pretty good season. They win last year. They were kind of struggling, and then they ended up having a pretty good season. Is this game? Can it be? When you have this much packed into it, can it be
I don't think so.
Start for whoever wins it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Again, it's a non-conference game. Next week is too. It doesn't matter what we start off. We got an open week, and then we get an ACC play. That's where the focus is. To get in the playoffs. You can be 0-4 coming out of the preseason and get into the ACC play. Win the ACC, you're in the playoffs. You're one of those 12 teams. That's the ultimate goal. Is to win an ACC championship. Go get it then. So I mean, it can't be everything. It's just not.
It seems it should be after your conference schedule, right? If you're going to play in November.
Yeah, but we don't pick that. I mean, that's great, but it doesn't matter. Play it whenever. I don't care if it's preseason or postseason. Doesn't matter.
Talk about stopping the run. What have you seen from Donaldson and White watching the film?
Jaheim White's a dude. I mean, that's another really good question. Talking about the opponent. I think Jaheim's a good football player. I kind of see him kind of like a Desmond Reed. He's slippery. He's not real big, but he's explosive. He's made big plays for him. And then CJ's he's got they got 2 different kind of guys, kind of like we do. I don't think Derek Davis or Daniel Carter are 240. But CJ Donaldson's an outsider. They got 2-headed monster at running back, and you better be prepared for different stuff when both of them are in. And CJ will probably come in some short yardage stuff, but both good pass protectors, and they're good football players.
Do you see them use White like you guys do, Desmond, like in a multitude of facets?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I mean, he's. I don't want to say. I mean, they all do everything. It's not like you say, hey, Jaheim's in there and they're going to run outside runs and jet sweeps. And then with CJ's in, they're going to run inside zones and dives. But they do it all. I mean, CJ runs a lot of outside zone as well. So there's no tip as far as what they're doing when they're in there. They do everything. But one guy can hurt you more with certain things than others, I guess.
And how multiple are they defensively?
They're multiple. I mean, again, they're going to look like a 3 down, and they're going to, get that 4th guy involved, whether it's from the boundary or the field. Different coverages. So they're multiple on defense, very multiple.
You mentioned only 212 yards last year. Kind of not forgetting what happened down there. Did you feel like you guys let one kind of get away from you down there, or did you let him in that you could have had to get away from you down there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we played, extremely well on offense, right? I mean, we threw 2 interceptions down there. I think off of, I'm not sure how many points they got, maybe 3 points off of that. What was the final score?
17-6.
They scored 17 points. Like, when you had 2 turnovers, like, it should have been 37, right? Yeah, I mean, you could say that, But, they got the win.
Any final questions before we wrap up? Thank you very much.
All right.